solidarity against gun control. I want to thank all of you for coming out on such a cold day.
Well, we won't back down. We're gonna stand our ground. We know you're trying to open the gates of hell, but we won't back down. So yes, we'll stand our ground. We won't be pushed around. We must keep you from putting our kids in the ground, so we can't stand down. No, we won't back down. We won't back down, baby. There ain't no easy way out. We can't stand down, brother. So we'll stand our ground. And no, we won't back down. 'Cause we know what's right. And we got plenty of fight. And if you think you're gonna keep pushing us around, well, you'll lose that crown. 'Cause we won't back down. We won't back down, baby. There ain't no easy way out. We can't back down, brother. We've got to stand our ground. And no, we won't back down. You know, it's pretty clear. If these lunatics think they have the right to strip us of our rights of self-defense, and if they're willing to do that, what else are they willing to do? We won't back down, baby. There ain't no easy way out. We can't back down, brother. No, we won't back down. Back down, baby. There ain't no easy way out. We can't back down, brother. We've got to stand our ground. So we won't back down. No, we won't back down. Virginians, you won't fight this fight alone.
Every time I hear "Trying to Open the Gates of Hell" in that song, boy, was that ever prophetic.
What a great song.
It is. I really, every time I hear it, it just really hits the right chord with me. Just everything that's going on and what we've
The
got to do.
pictures.
Yeah, and you know, that's the whole reason that I got so heavily involved with VCDL is because they don't back down. It's no compromises. You know, rights are not negotiable.
Right. Well, good evening, everybody. I'm Ed Levine, joined by Philip Van Cleve, our president, and Pat Webb, our secretary and treasurer. Thanks for joining our online general monthly membership meeting. Set it up in your calendar to watch us on the third Thursday of every month at 8 p.m. And we're opening back up to some live meetings as well. And we got a lot of stuff to cover and coming up later tonight. So, Philip, why don't we kick it off with whatever's on your plate?
Oh yeah, boy. I tell you what, it's been a rough day. I hopefully I saved all you having to do this, but I sat through that entire Albemarle Board of Supervisors hearing from yesterday. They put the video up. And my IQ is definitely lower than it was before I started this. And the frustration. I mean, I really didn't want to throw anything at my computer screen because I didn't want to break it or anything, but it was so tempting listening to these people in the Board of Supervisors in Albemarle County. You know, so what do they do? To give you an example of this stuff, what do? They say, oh, we forgot to add judges to people that are exempt and can carry in our buildings and in our parks and recreation centers and all of that. And then they turn around and say, oh, but we permit holders, concealed handgun permit holders, they don't have training like the police do. Well, hello, judges have no training, none. But that's okay. No training for judges because they work for the government. So, they've got to be magical and can do stuff without even having any training. Meanwhile, us peons that are actually the bosses of these people, if we don't have the training that they think that the police have, and by the way, it's nothing like what they think it is, then we can't carry. And what was really sad about that is that was a concealed handgun permit holder, according to her, that said this. She should have known better. I think they've got 3 of them. They're all women on the board that claim to have concealed handgun permits. I don't know. Are they serious? Because they're certainly not educated on the subject of guns.
Maybe they got a complimentary permit because they're on the board.
Probably. And I'll tell you what, now that, and they passed that. There were no exemptions for anything. And not even in parks. A few of them kind of said, oh, well, they did, they basically were saying, yeah, we should be able to, people with permits should be able to carry in parks. But at the end of the day, they didn't even make that exception. They didn't even do that. So what they really did was virtue signaling. Oh, we think permit holders should carry, but we're not actually going to do anything about it. We're just going to signal a virtue and then take away their rights. But we signaled the right virtue, so that's what matters.
We showed we cared. It's the thought that counts, right?
Yes. Yes. Oh, and they said, oh, there's just no way we could have an inconsistency. Like we couldn't let permit holders carry in the park, but not in a building. Oh no, that would be too much. People couldn't figure that out. They'd get confused.
That whole thing you said about judges reminds me back when Tim Kaine was governor, and he said, if you're a Commonwealth attorney or their deputies, you can carry concealed, drink while you're carrying, and you don't have to be a permit holder because you're a Commonwealth attorney or a Commonwealth attorney's deputy. You're very special.
That makes you magic, and that's and again, look, don't get me wrong. Judges should be allowed to carry in their buildings and everything else. Their lives are as valuable as ours. They're no more valuable than my life or your life, but they're no less valuable either. And I think they should be allowed to carry. But what I'm calling out here is the hypocrisy of the Board of Supervisors for saying that a judge with no training is somehow better able to handle a gun than somebody that's had training. That even in this upside down world makes no sense. But then again,
it would have been funny if they just said, if you wear a black robe, you can carry. Because
I like that. Why not? We'll all buy black robes and we'll carry. And we'll have more training than the other people in black robes. Right. And it went on and on. It was at the end of the day, it was clear that they'd made up their minds ahead of time, and all the county manager did was list excuses, cover for them. Oh, here's why we should do this. And, oh, here's what the Supreme Court said on this. And, it goes on. And of course, the Supreme Court only said in dicta, which is just sort of in passing, not part of the actual rulings they did in DC versus Heller and Chicago versus McDonnell, and government buildings are a sensitive place where guns could be banned. That was not actually part of the ruling, but you'd swear it was based upon how people, and they want it to be something. The gun controllers latched on to anything they could, and they're going to hopefully be looking desperately for some more latching come November 3rd, because that's when this case from New York dealing with may issue concealed handgun permits is going to come up in front of the Supreme Court. And this would be an opportunity that I hope is not squandered, where the court can finally free, people in at least 7 states that are currently under the thumb of government because they don't meet some artificial criteria. And so this could be a game changer. We'll just have to see what happens. Also in the news, Alexandria. I see we got somebody here from Alexandria checked in. I'm sure there's quite a few. Alexandria did something I'm not surprised at. I mean, again, it's there's a saying that never assume something is malice when it could just simply be stupidity or whatever. they say with government, you should never, say something is stupid when it's probably malice. But I don't know in this case. But what happened? I think this is just, I don't know. This could just be a bureaucracy thing. But they had an event coming up in Alexandria this weekend. I think it was in the Del Rey area. I'm not real familiar with Alexandria. But I think it was in the Del Rey area. And some of our members reported that days before this thing started, they'd already put up signs down the streets and everywhere on adjoining streets and everything else, no guns. And so those signs were up for days. So those of you that aren't VCDL members, and even if you are, when you came across that sign, how did you possibly know for sure that there was no event going on somewhere and those signs weren't valid? This is baloney.
They should have hung no COVID allowed signs too, right next to them.
Yeah, well, yeah, that would be great. Just think we wouldn't have to worry about that anymore. But so they did that. Then when this thing was, apparently they did have something coming up over the weekend, and when it was over, the signs were still up for at least a day or so before they got taken down. Now, I got notified of this on Thursday night, knowing that, obviously, if it was some division in the government that did signs, that they were going to be closed at 7 or 8 at night. But who would be open would be the police. So I called the Alexandria police and got passed to a Lieutenant Alvarez. Very nice guy. He said, I don't think that's us putting up those signs at all. He said, but I'll be happy to find out who it is. Can you tell me exactly where they are? And I didn't have an exact address. I just said somewhere in Del Rey. I said, it's apparently on a main street. I've seen photos of it, and their signs are going up everywhere. Would you check? And he did. He followed up. Later that night, I got a photo that he had taken of one of the signs, and he said, yeah, this is the Department of Traffic and I forget something else. And anyhow, these people do the signs. So the next day, I left a message for that department, and 5 o'clock came and went, no calls. So they were up all weekend. By then, it was too late anyhow. I mean, the thing started probably Saturday and Sunday. It was over. And so Monday, I called, and this time I said, to heck with that. And I went straight to the city manager's office and said, hey, this is not kosher, guy. And so I talked to a lady there, and she hooked me up, made sure I got in contact with the people that do signs. And I explained to the lady that does signs in that department. I said, look, you're putting those signs up early. You're actually telling the public a lie. They can carry, but you're putting up a sign that's saying they can't. That is not correct. And here's the problem with that. Number one, you're going to get somebody arrested, and it will be an unlawful arrest. And the city is going to get sued for an unlawful arrest, because a police officer is going to see the sign and he's going to say, oh, I guess guns aren't allowed right now. And he's going to see somebody legally carrying a gun, and he's going to charge them. And that's all because of these stupid signs you've got up. I said they should not be going up days before. They need to go up right before the event and come down immediately when it's over. So I talked to her again on Monday when the event was over, late Monday afternoon. And she was very nice. She said, I'll check into that and get the signs taken down. So to my knowledge, they went down. I don't live up there, so I couldn't go out and easily spy without driving 2 hours to go up there to look at it.
Or even if they had to put them up early, stipulate clearly this is between these days and hours.
Yes. And that would be a good solution. That would be the way to handle it. If their answer is, well, but it takes the department a certain amount of time for people to get the signs printed and then physically put up, and we kind of have to do it a few days before, then you have a great solution that they should have something they can tape on the bottom or attach to the sign, or something that gives the dates, or something where they can write them in and then erase them later and reuse the sign. But
kind of like they do with the parking signs.
I'm sorry?
Kind of like they do with no parking signs when they're going to do like leaf pickup or something like that. They write in dates and times on the signs, and they have spaces for that.
Yes.
But what we need is our members up in Alexandria to let us know if they see any of these signs up when they shouldn't be up, giving false information like that.
Yeah, and my view with a lot of this stuff is sometimes I will try to work with somebody if I think it's not really malice. If I think this isn't malice, this is just people. They're told to put up signs. They don't really realize the implications. They're just putting up signs as they were told to do. Well, if they continue to do this, I'm going to suggest to them what Ed just said. All right, then you need to modify those signs. If they don't do it, then we're going to start having protests, or we're going to start bombarding city council. We may have protests, I don't know, but we cannot tolerate this. This is beyond. And if it's, again, I'm giving them a break at first. If this is truly innocent, and it could be, again, the people I talked to, from the police department to the traffic people that put up signs and all that, and even the city manager's office, everybody's been very nice and polite. So I've got no reason to think that there's anything other than that. And I don't know about city council, but
well, from everything you've said, it seems a little odd that the traffic people that handle the signs are putting up signs, and that lieutenant you spoke of didn't know anything about it.
Yes.
That seems a little odd that someone's going to put up signs about guns or whatever, and the guy that high up in the police department didn't get the memo.
No. And well, again, they may be thinking that that's not an event, whatever this event is coming up. Maybe it's one that it was not going to be big enough for the police to really have a formal presence there. So they're kind of saying, well, whatever. Like I say, I don't know how all this stuff is really in practice is going to be enforced. I really don't. And I don't even know if ultimately in the end of the day it will be. I don't know. I've got no idea.
Alexandria should install magnetometers on every sidewalk.
Yeah, and look, honestly, I haven't talked to the police in Alexandria about this, but in general, I can tell you, I honestly be shocked if the police anywhere in the state really want to enforce something like this. At this time when they're trying to rebuild relationships with the community, you're really going to go after the best of the best and harass them? I don't think so. I really don't think so. Now, I'm not telling you to count on that. Understand that if you go past those signs, in theory, and they see you've got a gun, well, shame on you if but in theory, you could be charged. So whether it would really happen, I don't know, but you have to plan that it could. But anyhow, so I'm giving it a little time. I'm not convinced there's malice here. If there was malice, we'd be going. If I felt for sure this was malicious, we would be going very differently right now. But again, there's no point. Sometimes things happen. You're just better off to try to do things in a nice, fair, even way with somebody. If it's fixed, it's fixed. That's my ultimate goal. It's not to go to war with everybody, but we will go to war if that's what we have to do. But it will be more a decision on the other side not to cooperate to force us to do that. As Winchester, city of Winchester's found out with our lawsuit.
So Jack Jordan is asking, is this for all events?
Yeah, it's for any event that should be permitted or is permitted in Alexandria. Now, this isn't true in the rest of the state. This is only true in the now 13 locations in the state that have passed this kind of gun control. And actually, I take it back. Albemarle and who was the other one? Loudon don't do events like this. They don't have that in their ordinance. But if you're in the other 11 locations, anytime there's an event that's permitted or should have been permitted. And of course, Richmond's the one that's really playing dirty pool by leaving their signs up pretty much permanently, and with little wording at the bottom saying the sign only applies if there's an event or with a permit or should have had a permit, which is totally useless. Nobody, including the police, are going to have any idea when those signs apply. And it's my hope the police just end up ignoring them because they don't know what to do with them either. They don't want to do a false arrest. But that's Mayor Stoney for you, and I can't say enough bad things about him, so we'll move on. Let me see what else is going on. We're keeping an eye on Leesburg. Leesburg is looking at local gun control, but it truly looks like if they do it, and we need to fight them tooth and nail on any locality. And whether they exempt permit holders or not doesn't matter. They shouldn't be doing this stuff, period. Exempting permit holders doesn't give them a pass. But what the Leesburg is looking at just the city council building, and that's it. Not parks, not events, not recreation and community centers, nothing but that one building that they meet in. And I wouldn't be surprised if they put an exception for permit holders, because I know there's at least 1 or 2 permit holders on the board of supervisors, town council.
Well, 10 years ago, I've sued Leesburg a couple times for their no guns in park signs. And I've had many meetings with Kelly Burke. And maybe some of that hit home in this new wave of, she's like, yeah, let's just ban it at this building or whatever.
Mm-hmm. You never know when a seed you plant or a communication you have down the road may pay off. A lot of times that's how it is. You don't get an immediate reaction. The person has to think about it for a while, and suddenly the pieces start to fall together, especially if they're not a gun owner themselves. But again, even if they exempted permit holders and it was that one building, they shouldn't be doing any of this. They really should not. It doesn't matter if you've got a permit or not. Your life without a permit is every bit as valuable as it is with a permit. But anyhow, I'm just saying that I have a sneaking suspicion if they do it, that's where they're going. Listening to all of them, there was really no support for parks, no support for events outside, and no support for other buildings. So libraries, stuff like that, none of that will be affected. But we're watching that. And again, while we have watch team for local governments, and we've got 190 or whatever it is people that have been assigned to that, not all of them catch things. I mean, I've seen them catch things early, and that was very helpful. And I've seen them miss things that regular people, regular VCDL members brought to my attention, and that were not caught by the watch team for local government.
I think it's important that even in local government, that our members, whether they're Republican, Independent, Democrat, whatever, but you're a gun owner, because VCDL is nonpartisan. So some of these politicians that happen to be Democrat that think they're doing us a favor by banning guns in these places, their constituents that are on their side of the fence need to hear. They need to hear from you that, like, I vote the same way you do, but you're voting wrong on this. Because of course they're not going to listen to this guy that's over here that voted for my opponent. But the gun owners that vote like they do they need to be heard by those elected officials.
Yeah,
Right.
we need to be engaged in local government. Again, do not think that your local government is not important. It's very important right now.
And you
Even
have the
school
most
board.
control. You have the most control at the local level. I've said it before, and I'll keep saying it. If you don't know your county supervisor or city council member by name, and they know you by name and know your face, you're doing something wrong. So on our website now, when you log into the members only side of the website, there are watch team for local government groups for every single locality in Virginia. You can join those groups, and you can use that as a forum to communicate with other people in your area. They're just getting started, but I've seen several people joining up in those groups lately. So the more people that join, the more effective they'll be. And it's a way to communicate. Hey, there's a school board meeting next week, and they're going to be talking about guns on school property, or there's a city council meeting coming up, and we need to get over there and talk to them about not banning guns in the city council buildings. So use those tools. They're there for your benefit.
That allows you to communicate again with people in your area specifically about concerns. Like maybe you just want to chat about something. I kind of heard a rumor that this board of supervisor member wants to do something about a noise ordinance or whatever. Then you can share things, and if it rises to the level of needing to bring in the organization, then you contact me, and then the organization steps in. If it doesn't, it turns out there's really nothing to it, or it's nothing important, then but it's a great form of local communication that's now open to you that we did not have. And before I forget, speaking about this, as I said, school boards are now important. Well, they are not only for your child's education, but now some of them have the power. All of them have the power to ban guns in their buildings, even though they're just office buildings. And so Virginia Beach is sort of looking at doing this, and I want to get this out now because I haven't had a chance to get the alert out. I had asked people in Virginia Beach to show up at this meeting of the Virginia Beach school board to oppose this. And this is important. They have moved the date out. We don't know when, but it will not be on the 24th. So you can take that off your calendar. Don't show up there on the 24th. Now, I'll put that in an alert, but I thought, well, since I've got a lot of people here, spread the word if you live in Virginia Beach that that there'll be another date. And from what I've heard about the school board, this is not unusual for them to bounce dates around, hoping to get something that kind of can slip through under the door when nobody's looking because they bounced it enough times. So, but we've got to keep our eye on that bouncing ball.
So PJ is saying that the watch groups would be more successful if they were available to non-members. There's nothing stopping you from sharing information with non-members, but these are places on our members only side where you can talk maybe a little more freely sometimes. You can also use it if there's a meeting, like say you heard about a school board meeting that's discussing something that we're concerned about and you can't make the meeting. Once these groups get formed a little better, you'll be able to share the load and, delegate who goes to the school board, who goes to the county meeting, and so on and so forth.
And for the record, for you to take part in that is $2.08 a month to be a member of the organization.
Yeah, it's not like we're asking for $1 million.
Right.
No, and we don't beg you
$25
for money.
a year.
And we don't
But if
beg
you have
for
$1
money.
million, VCDL.org/donate.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. So, and also non-members are free to contact me. If a non-member sees something, it's there's no reason they can't send me an email. I communicate with all kinds of people. I want to know what's going on.
Was that a jab at me?
No.
Bob Ryan is saying that Rust Library in Leesburg is posted with no firearms sign. I don't think Leesburg has passed an ordinance yet, have they?
They have not.
So
that sign in Leesburg is not valid.
Right.
If you will email me with the contact information and a photo of that sign, I'll take that up at the Leesburg Library. Just send it to president@vcdl.org and give me the contact information, and I'll give them a buzz. We'll do something about that. They have no authority to do that. They are in violation of state law by having done that. Okay. There any other comments in here that we need to address?
Not seeing anything right now.
Okay. Yeah. So I just the group just approved a purchase of a PA system, a portable one, a very portable one, and I'm going to keep it with me whenever I have a speaking engagement where they don't definitely already have a PA system set up. We just bought a portable one that can be hand carried, and I've got all the speaker and cord and stands and everything. Unfortunately, the last of it came in today. I was hoping to have it for Albemarle County because we were having to use a bullhorn, and it's just not the same thing. You just can't hear very well. I'm forever not holding it just exactly right because it's got to be just perfect for it to actually magnify your voice. And I think that's because they're trying to avoid feedback, but it makes it difficult to use. So we've now got, and I'm thinking this will also go when we have a meeting at restaurants or buildings that don't have a PA system. I'll just bring this with me. It's easy to set up and seemed to work fairly well. I just did a couple tests on it today. So we have that. I saw a new type of fanny pack that was announced, and let me see. Trying to find the paperwork on this. It's a Galco, and I'll probably do a review on it. Fanny packs apparently are coming back into vogue. Where at one time they were. Hold on a second here. Yeah, it's called a Galco Fast Tracks is what the packaging is on it, and it's just like that. That's the compact size. They have one for smaller guns. That one, and what makes it interesting is that you to actually access the firearm. Let me get situated here. You unzip the top and pull up on a cord, and then the firearm is presented. So I got to fix something here. Pat, why don't you go
The
ahead?
zipper's so powerful it knocked down your sign behind you.
Yeah, I know. That was Pierre did. The holder for that sign, part of it busted. It never was very good. It was a plastic job, so I'm going to have to figure out what to do with it. It doesn't really. I kind of had to balance it carefully, so I'm going to fix that, and I'll be back. You guys carry on.
Okay. While Philip is fixing that, I guess it's a good talk about the upcoming PAC fundraiser that we're pretty excited about.
Good idea.
On September 18th, the VCDL PAC is holding its first major fundraising event. This year will be pivotal for the elections. We've got the House of Delegates up for grabs, the governor, lieutenant governor, and attorney general. So those are all major key races to shift the balance of power in Virginia back to a freedom-loving state that we are and should be. The fundraiser is going to be 2 separate shooting competitions. There will be a skeet competition and there will be a dueling tree competition. And the entry fee for each is $125, and the top prize is $1,000. There will also be a barbecue lunch. People can come and just watch the shooting competitions, have lunch. There'll be speakers at lunchtime, various activities. There'll be a silent auction, but it should be a really fun fundraiser. Philip, do you want to talk a little bit about what a dueling tree competition is, in case there are people out there that aren't familiar with it?
Okay. Well, a dueling tree is a lot of fun. Let me tell you, if you've never shot, especially a competition with a dueling tree, you're really missing out on a fun shooting event. What it is, it's a steel pole that has 6 paddles on it, 6, shaped like a tennis racket kind of thing, which are your steel targets, and they swivel from left to right. And the way you start the dueling tree out is you put 3 of them on one side and 3 on the other side, and then when the timer or either the timer starts or the buzzer goes off, both of you, 2 people, engage the targets on their side. So you're addressing 3 of these paddles, trying to knock them over to the other side. Now, depending on the rules, when you run out of ammo, you're done. Or if the first person that runs out of ammo, it's over. Or when a time passes, like maybe 15, 20 seconds.
It's not showing.
Yeah, it's with your background on, it's not showing. There you go. It's kind of hard to see, but you can see a little tree there with the 6 paddles on it, 3 on each direction. But all I can tell you is it's a very, very intense thing, because you're sitting there battling. You knock one over and your opponent's knocked one back on your side. Now you've got to address that and get it over there. Meanwhile, he's trying to get others over. It's just very, very intense. And it really, if you're jerking the trigger or you're not looking at your sights properly, it will bring that out big time, because you're under real pressure to hit those plates and get them over. I can just tell you it's intense, and it is a lot of fun.
Actually, I think Kathy's going to join us in a minute here, so maybe we'll let her talk about it a little bit more. We had another guest that's going to come on, and I don't know if he's having technical difficulties or not, but I don't see it. He's logged into the green room, but I don't see him yet. So if Kathy jumps in, we'll switch them around and let her go first.
Okay.
Meanwhile, we can talk about a little bit about AFLAC. So Sarah Max from AFLAC is also a VCDL member, and she has come up with a plan to offer to VCDL members AFLAC services at even better rates than she can get from AFLAC. So if you're interested in participating in AFLAC, which one of those you can certainly, you've seen the commercials with the duck. You can certainly go on the website and find out what's going on. We're updating something on our website right now, so it's down while we do the update. but you'll be able to go to vcdl.org, sign into the member area, and you'll see the AFLAC offering. And that will be there. I don't see Kathy yet, but we do have Dexter. So since we told Dexter 8:30 and it's 8:33, let's bring Dexter on.
Okay. The
Philip,
AFLAC page is vcdl.org/page/AFLAC. And then you have to log in to see the actual links to the discounts and stuff. But the rate sheet is up there.
Okay. Do we want to read Dexter's bio, or let him tell him about himself?
Let him tell him, but let him tell him about it himself. Tell us about himself. That'd be fine.
All right. So we'll welcome to the program, Dexter.
Boom. Hello. Hi.
Hey, Dexter.
You can see I was expecting to be doing Zoom, so I got my green curtains.
Oh yeah.
I bought the green curtains after my first work Zoom because let's say that my coworkers were a little disconcerted at my basement. You know,
I think it's pretty
full of
cool.
muskets right here just sort of frosted their cookies. So, like whenever I'm doing work Zooms,
move the camera again to your left, I guess. No, the other way.
Yeah.
Wow. Because you do a lot of the reenactment, or however you call that, right?
Yeah. Well, I'm into medieval recreation. I spent 20 years from 1980 to 2000 in the North-South Skirmish Association, which is live ammo Civil War target shooting against a stopwatch. Since 1995, I've been a volunteer at Jamestown, which is why I've got my work gave me a longevity bonus a couple of years ago, and I promptly spent it.
Oh wow!
So I've got a nice shiny new 75 cal musket that I broke it in at Jamestown this past spring, and this next month I'll be missing the fundraiser. I'll have to just donate to VCDL PAC online because I will be down in the hospital at Henricus Park playing doctor.
Mm.
I'll be hanging out in 1614.
Cool. That's some cool stuff. Well, the reason we reached out to you is we had some members that wanted to know more about the Pink Pistols and that organization. I'm like, well, I know a guy, and he would be happy to come on and talk to us. So Excellent. Why don't you give us a brief introduction of how you got involved and what's it all about and that type of thing.
Okay. So first off, I've been a VCDL member I was a VCDL member for about 6 years before I joined the Pistols. And what happened was back along about late 2000, early 01, these people came to a VCDL meeting and they had a laptop and they had slides and they said, "Hi, we're your allies down the street," and they were the Pink Pistols. It was a young lady and her girlfriend and boyfriend, and a bunch of us at the VCDL meeting said, "Whoa, these people sound like fun people to go shooting with." So basically the Northern Virginia chapter kind of doubled in size with a bunch of VCDL people going to shoot with Pink Pistols. And so what the Pink Pistols is in 2000, there was a guy named Jonathan Rausch writing for Salon magazine. And he told the story of this young man named Austin Folk, who was too young to get into gay bars. So he went to a park and he was talking to an older guy, and some rednecks drove up and they started yelling insults. And the older guy told them where to go, and they jumped out of the truck with assorted blunt instruments. And the guy reached into his truck, pulled out a pistol and put a round into the ground in front of them, and the rednecks left. And what the lesson that Mr. Rausch drew from that was that it's probably a good idea for queers to learn to shoot and for other people to know that queers can shoot, because they will be less likely. The original motto of the Pink Pistols was "Pick on someone your own caliber." The current version is "Armed queers don't get bashed." And one of the things that really frosts my cookies is when people mess with marginalized people, because the bully mentality, they think A, this person is weak, and B, because they're those Untermenschen, then nobody's going to get mad at me for messing with them.
Hmm.
And ever since, I don't know, age 5 or 6 or so, I have basically hated bullies. So getting one over on them is a good thing. So over the years, I wound up becoming the Northern Virginia chapter coordinator. Then fast forward to 2016, after the Pulse nightclub shooting, there was another organization that started up spontaneously called Operation Blazing Sword, blazingsword.org. And what that was it was the gun culture's reaction to the Pulse shooting. Was within a couple of weeks, there was a Google map that was covered with little pins, and each pin was contact info for somebody who'd said, if you're queer and you're scared, I will teach you to shoot for free. Fast forward to now, and in 2018 at the Gun Rights Policy Conference, they announced a merger between Pink Pistols and Blazing Sword. So we're an umbrella organization now, and Pink Pistols is more of an activist and PAC organization. Blazing Sword is an actual 501c3. So if you sign up as an OBS instructor, you go to teach some guys to shoot, you could theoretically deduct your ammo from your taxes, which is kind of cool. And the founder of OBS, Erin Paulette, she wound up when the first two guys that started Pink Pistols, Doug Crick and David Roschek, aren't around anymore. Doug Crick passed on in 2018, but his buddy Gwen Patton was the first speaker for years and years and years, and she was getting a little bit old and tired about it. So Erin is now the national coordinator between the national coordinator for Pink Pistols and Blazing Sword.
Now, if one of our members in Virginia wants to find more information out about like the organization, how they join, what they do, where should they look at?
Okay, pinkpistols.org, and there is a Nova Pink Pistols page. Pre-plague, we were basically shooting the afternoon of the first Sunday every month at over at Elite Shooting Sports in Manassas. Since the plague and since the first Sundays of every month have been kind of, they've all been holidays and stuff this year, holiday weekends and whatnot. So I'm hoping to start meet and shoots again around October. There is if you search on Facebook, there is a Nova, Northern Virginia, Nova Pink Pistols page. And it is not quite as heavily moderated as the National Pink Pistols page, because after the Pulse shooting, we went from about 1,500 members to about 8,000. And we attracted a certain number of somewhat less than stable individuals, shall we say, because any Facebook group is going to grow and it's going to attract some bozos.
Right.
So
if somebody wants to reach you, is it okay if they reach you directly if they have a question about something that they can't find answer?
Yeah.
Or,
okay, my email address is 3FG. That's 3 Foxtrot Golf Burner, BURNER at Gmail. Because basically I needed a web name and everybody, and at the time I was still doing Civil War stuff, so I just said, okay, since I burn copious amounts of 3F gunpowder, so 3FG Burner is my Gmail address, and my website is 3fgburner.net. That's me personally, as opposed to Pink Pistols.
Well, we certainly appreciate you coming on here. I'm scrolling through to see if anybody has any questions for you, and I don't see any now. But the reason I had you put your contact information out there is a lot of people that don't watch us live because of whatever things going on in their life. They listen to us later or watch us on our YouTube replay, and then they might have the questions that they don't have the opportunity to ask live. So I'll see if Philip or Pat have a question for you. And if they don't, then I thank you so much for coming on and joining us. Philip?
I did want to mention a couple of things.
Oh, sure.
A while back, God's helped the universe. They actually invited me to be on the board of directors for Pink Pistols and Blazing Sword. And then last year for the rally in Richmond, I was one of the boots on the ground for Pink Pistols at the big rally. And one of my counterparts, the chapter coordinator for Miami, Lucy Leach, she actually flew up here to join us at the rally in Richmond, and it was a great day. You know, I love.
I've seen Pink Pistols at our lobby day.
Yeah, yeah, oh yeah. Among others, me. Yeah, no, I've been going to lobby day for I don't know, probably 20 years now, and yeah, no, I first heard about VCDL when it was NVCDL, and I was waiting in line at the Fairfax police station to apply for one of the first 60 CHPs they issued. And there were these guys walking up and down the line showing us all the stuff that it was illegal for the Fairfax guys to ask us. And then, and so forth. On the PAC and legal thing, VCDL has put in a bunch of amicus briefs over the years in gun rights cases. And we were co-plaintiffs in Grace versus DC, the one that forced them to go shall issue.
Well, the organization has always had a huge tent. I mean, basically, we cover citizens regardless of anything else other than their wish to have the Second Amendment to protect themselves, because all of us have that right. All of our lives are valuable, and we need to be able to protect it. And we, to us, that's always been a driving force in this organization, that we, as Americans, especially if we all stand together on protecting that right, that's what will keep us from losing our other rights. And it's critical that every American possible stands with us on the right of self-defense. The Pink Pistols are in on the fight.
And the other ones like JPFO, Juice for the Preservation of Firearms Ownership. JPFO is, I mean, VCDL. Somebody who has since blocked me on Facebook referred to VCDL. I was saying, somebody called me an NRA plant, and I said the NRA are weenies. I'm with VCDL, and the guy referred to VCDL as a Tasmanian devil with rabies. and I posted that on the Facebook group, and everybody took it as a compliment.
Yeah, I think so.
And JPFO is the same way. Those people do not mess around. And there's some minority gun groups that are starting to sort of come into the fold, I guess you could say. Some of them have their issues, like the NFAC, the Not Effing Around Coalition, have some ND issues, but like John Brown Gun Club, those guys have got their stuff together. Yeah,
and we are seeing more of that. At the end of the day, again, we have to stand together on that right. We can differ in other ways. That's a whole other issue. VCDL could care less, but we all need to be free.
Yeah, and every once in a while we have to ride herd on people. People on the Pink Pistols page will sit there and go, "What are you doing on the board of directors? You're straight, dude." And I'm going, "Yeah, but I'm open-minded, and I hate bullies."
And you hate prejudice.
I hate prejudice. I absolutely hate prejudice, and I hate oppression, and I hate all kinds of people who do nasty things. Yeah. Anyway, I have run over my time. Any questions, or are we good?
No, I think we're good. Appreciate you coming on.
Hey, Dexter, appreciate it. Thanks for joining us.
It has been a pleasure.
Thanks.
Yeah, thanks. Thank you. And thanks for bringing to the forefront that we're all human. There's Absolutely. Only one race, human, and we all have that in common, and we all have the same rights, regardless of the color of our skin or our gender or our political or sexual preferences or whatever. Yep. We're all just humans, and we all have the same rights.
One comment from Jason King in the chat. Let's note that Antifa was there at the rally in Richmond, and they were on our side. You know, a bunch of white supremacists showed up, and the John Browns told them to go away, and Antifa told them to go away, and we told them to go away. You know, so yeah, Antifa was there in January 20, and yeah, they, you know, we may have our other political differences with some of them, but they're on our side on gun rights. Anyway, thanks for having me, and you guys have a good rest of meeting.
Thanks, Dexter. Good night.
Thanks.
So a timed 6-shot black powder pistol dueling tree would be fun. Yeah, 6 shots. That's it. It'd be over quick.
Yeah.
Believe me, those things go fast. It's like bang, 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 boom, done.
And, and if you reloaded every 38 seconds, you'd probably get a prize for that. If you could get 3 rounds off within a minute. Yeah. Because there are a lot of people out there that have competitions to see how many rounds they can shoot out of a musket.
Well, if you've never done it anyhow, a dueling tree, you'll have an opportunity if you come out to the PAC event.
If you're fast and accurate, you only need 3 shots.
Well, that's true.
Yeah. Speaking of the PAC and the PAC fundraiser, I wonder if the PAC chairman's available to talk.
It just popped up on your screen. I'm like, I dream a genie or something.
Yeah.
Sorry about poof. I need a puff of pink smoke.
And I appreciate you fluffing out that hair for me.
Yeah, well, it's very humid, so I'm a little fluffy. But
I've known
I don't know what you guys
since she was 3, and I've always called her Fluffy just for that reason. So I think on purpose, when she talks with me or does video with me or anything, she fluffs it out extra fluffy.
Just for Ed.
Just to keep the nickname.
Just for Ed, right? So you guys have talked. I mean, have you introduced the date and the concept and everything?
Not as good as you would.
Okay. Well, I mean, I think you probably know the date. I mean, we've got the invitation up on social media. We're sending it out to the membership, and it is Saturday, September 18th. It's kind of an all-day affair. If you're going to compete in either the skeet or dueling tree pistol, you've got to get there probably by 9 to get a 9:30 brief at the range. So, plan on being there early. It's going to be a really fun event. First off, it's at one of the executive members' farm, and he has loaned us the use. He's got all kinds of space. There is going to be one central area where you can register and drive in, and that's where we'll have lunch. But the skeet range and the pistol range are going to be in various areas of the property. So logistically, you are going to get there. You're going to check in. You're going to go to your area. You're going to get your, range briefing. And then we're going to start the competition, which starts at 10. So if you want to compete, it's $125. The biggest thing to announce is that there is a grand prize for each competition of $1,000. The second place is $250, and third and fourth place will get about $100 worth of, various swag that we can pull together for either VCDL or sponsors. And we have 64 slots for the dueling tree, 32 slots for the skeet. That can be expanded, but we've got to fill those slots first. So sign up now, because if this thing gets hot, I don't know if we're going to have a lot of people on a waiting list, but it's on the website. So if you go to vcdl.org, you go on the PAC page, there's a drop down, and it'll have the sponsorship information and then the competition information. So you can click on either of them, and it actually takes you to the main page, and there's links there. So that has all the information. It's on the Facebook page. We would love to see you. We're going to have some great sponsors. We already have one person that I would love to announce, but I'm not going to because it hasn't been super finalized yet. But we're going to have a great barbecue lunch. So you'll shoot skeet or pistol in the morning from about 10 to 12. Then we'll stop and have lunch from about noon to 1:30 and listen to our sponsors. And then at 1:30, we'll continue with finals so that we can hand out our prizes.
And it's about 30 minutes west of Richmond, just for locality.
It is. It's in Powhatan.
Oh, I can't say it right.
Off of Petersburg Road. Is that it?
That's in
Yes.
Powhatan, right on the border with Chesterfield, off of 360.
And for those of you trying to go to our website right now, we're having a scheduled maintenance. So go to vcdl.org later on tonight or tomorrow, and then go to the PAC page, and you can see all the details about the event and how to sign up and everything else.
And if you want to come just for lunch and, kind of have fellowship, listen to the sponsors, talk with folks, we're going to have a cigar tent. We're trying to get a silent auction up and running that could have some great stuff in it too. We'll have food, and it's $30 for members, $40 for non-members. But if you want to come in on that day, it's going to be $45. So if for some reason you don't want to shoot, come in at 11:30 and have lunch with us at 12 and listen to the sponsors and talk with all of your Second Amendment supporters from around the state. Hang out for an hour or two, and it's going to be a really good time. I think this is going to shape up to be a great inaugural event, and hopefully we can continue to have this as our kind of standard bearer event every year as a fundraiser.
And I see Craig Davis is asking about how much ammo would someone need to bring. Now for the dueling tree, I believe 2 boxes, in other words, 100 rounds. That would carry you through, assuming that you went. It'll be multiple levels. In other words, there'll be an initial thing where the winners of the first round will then compete, and the winners of the second round will then compete, and it'll keep narrowing down. So we figure that 100 rounds, if you're in that continuing narrowing category, would be sufficient. And if you're going to do 9mm, which is what I'm kind of suggesting, we'll probably have some extra ammo there just in case somebody does run out if they end up going way down and have don't go over 100 rounds. We can't have just every ammo there. We don't want to do that, but we might have some little extra 9mm that can be purchased if you need it. But you really should bring your own ammo for that. And I believe the PAC is going to be providing the shotgun shells for the skeet shooting. No, you're not. Okay,
No, shotgun.
Providing the clays.
Yeah.
okay,
Yeah, providing the clays. Yeah.
Okay,
So are you publicly predicting that you're going to need all 100 rounds of your 9mm?
I can't. I'm not going to be competing in it. I'll be there.
I know
My
Philip's a pretty good shot.
Yeah, I
My
can. If
policy
somebody
has
wants to warm
always
up, I
been-
can warm up with them. Go ahead, Pat.
Yeah, my policy's always been take the expected round count and at least double it,
Okay.
because if you have too much ammunition, you don't have to use it. But if you don't have enough, you kind of out of luck. But we're trying to have some of our sponsors maybe donate or sell us some ammunition. So we know there's a shortage, so we're going to try to have some of the more popular calibers there for sale, but we can't guarantee that at this point. We'll keep people updated though as we go along.
Yeah, and
also,
the PAC alert will have not only all this information, but a solicitation for volunteers too. So this is, a volunteer heavy effort. If you're a range instructor and you would like to donate your time to either competition, we would love to have you come. Of course, it would be a long day, and we would feed you. So, know that you'll come in and be able to have a respite in the middle of the day, and listen like the rest of us, and eat and get refreshed. And then I think the finals would probably go fairly quickly. We're planning on starting those at 1:30. So even though the event says 10 to 4, I suspect it would probably be over more like 2:30 or 3 o'clock. So I don't want anybody to get scared about the time frame. We built in that buffer just in case everything gets pushed down. But or if you would like to volunteer, just as exciting as it is, we have to have people directing traffic, and we also have to have people at registration. So we want this to be an orderly event. I've done this many times. I love to have registration go very smoothly. I want the parking to go smoothly. I want everyone to have a great day. So if you feel like you can donate your time and you would like to have a free lunch on the PAC, please email the general PAC address, vcdlpac@vcdl.org. And we will get the message and I will get back to you.
And the
We
PAC
appreciate all hands on deck.
The PAC is going to be very, very busy. This is a major election year. November 2nd is major. There's going to be a lot of money, a lot of funds, a lot of time spent on this. We've got to turn this ship around before we crash into the rocks. So any help you guys can provide would be wonderful, or attending and shooting in it would be great.
And spread the word.
Spread the word.
Go, at least spread the word.
You got
So
a
if you know
club.
people, if you have a business or work for a business that wants to be a sponsor, or you just want to be a sponsor as an individual, there's sponsorship levels available. If you want to just make a donation, maybe you can't attend, but you want to support the PAC, you can always just make a donation. But the PAC is going to need every single penny it can get this year to fight the good fight for you guys. Like Philip said, it's a pivotal election. And this is going to determine whether Virginia turns around or whether it continues on the current trajectory. So, if we want to take our state back, we have got to pull this off this election cycle.
I mean, we've said it so many times before, so goes Virginia, so goes, the country, but it couldn't be any more true this year, particularly with the House of Delegates and the redistricting that's going to go on. So we're going to have potentially 3 years of House races. So we're going to have a House race. We have a House race.
How many handgun permit holders are there, Philip?
700,000.
So can you imagine if 700,000 people voted in the election?
Yeah, if all of them voted correctly. Again, I'm just telling you the numbers are there, but we just have to get out and do it, especially in a year when most people don't go to vote. Then we should really be able to drop the hammer if we all go out.
Since this is an off-year election, technically speaking, we have a lot more leverage. So if we can get gun owners to the polls this year, then and we can get the right people elected, then we really have a chance of turning this ship around.
Yeah, we've talked about it many times. 2019 was devastating. There was no statewide candidates. We have statewide candidates. 2 are very, very strong on 2A, and we need to support them. And it goes both ways, right? The good 2A candidates on the state level support the House of Delegate candidates, and the House of Delegate good 2A candidates support the state. So it's all about bringing out the base, and the Second Amendment supporters, gun people throughout the Commonwealth. They are a base. They are a conservative base. I know people don't like to talk about it in political terms, but they are a huge part of the conservative base. So we need to show up. I mean, what is all this for if people aren't showing up?
Yeah.
All you got to do is, there's 45 days of voting, by the way. Voting starts on September 17th throughout the entire state. You can go call your registrar's office or go look online. You can vote early.
Yes, and you might want to do that.
COVID last year, right?
Yeah, vote
early and then get somebody else to come that is a Second Amendment supporter. Get them in to vote early.
Better yet, make sure your friends are registered to vote. Don't assume they are. Do not assume that. Don't assume the members in your gun club are registered to vote. You might be especially your hunt clubs, you might be shocked. And you got to get on them, get them registered, make them participate in this country while there's still a country to participate in.
It's never been easier to register. It's never been easier to vote in the state of Virginia. We can all quibble about whether or not we like this early voting and 45 days of voting. But I will tell you right now, those are the rules right now. And gun owners need to get there and cast their ballots. Period. End of story.
Wait,
I thought it was easier to buy a gun than it was to vote.
Oh yes.
Yes, that was Mr.
Call me crazy.
That was Mr.
Crazy Terry. Yeah.
Crazy Terry. Yes.
I call him Two-Face Terry.
That's not us calling him crazy. He said, "Call me crazy."
Yeah,
right.
Yeah, I mean, who am I to say no to that?
Right.
It's his name.
It
this
should
is not
be
the-
easier to buy a gun than it is to vote.
That's true. That should be our goal. In fact, that is our
Mhm.
goal. Yeah, absolutely. It should be the easiest thing to do, be able to buy a gun.
And
if you
anybody
know-
that is thinking that this Terry McAuliffe is the same Terry McAuliffe that put some pressure against some gun legislation, 6 years ago, that guy's gone. Okay. That guy's gone. As a matter of fact, the whole left wing of the Democrat Party has taken over. We've seen what has happened in these special sessions. We've seen the repeated attempts, we've through Philip's leadership and, the lobbying efforts and the communication with even some Democrats. Some things have been held off, but that's not going to last very long. Okay.
No. And we've seen the dirty tricks that they use all over the place. So, we have got to mobilize. There's no way around it. There's no excuses. It has got to happen.
Yeah, they want to shut us down. They're sure trying hard. They're really doing everything they can to keep us from having any kind of a lobby day because they know they're afraid of our numbers, and they should be afraid of our numbers. There's a lot of us out there. There's a whole lot of us. And I think most of us are fed up, and we'll see when election comes. But this is a critical time, and no time to be saying, I got to go to work today. I don't have time to go voting. If that's your attitude, then don't complain when the country slips away from you. I don't want to hear from you. You want to get in and be in the fight and go vote and get candidates in, put money behind them, help them knock on doors, whatever it takes. That's what it's going to take. And those people have a right to complain if things don't go right.
Yeah, none of this woulda, shoulda, coulda. I mean, it's too late. it's too late after it's done.
It's the 11th hour.
Here. If you're not going to participate in the decision-making process, then somebody else is going to make the decisions for you, and you're probably not going to decisions.
And you're not going to like them. You're not going to like those decisions.
No, I mean, history's determined about those people that show up. All you got to do is show up and vote.
Right.
I mean, show up and vote. Get 10 of your friends to come and vote that are strong Second Amendment people, and give some thought to making a donation to our PAC so that we can properly contribute to the campaigns that have done the right thing and filled out our survey and engaged with gun owners in the state of Virginia.
And I will remind everybody, a key point this year, again, I'll remind for those that may not know, the Republicans have got somebody running in every House district. So if historically you've only had one person to vote for and they've been a dog, you now have two people to vote for. You now have a choice. I don't care where you are in Virginia. You have a choice this time around. Do not sit this out.
Right. No. And as Pat Murphy points out, Bloomberg has poured money into Virginia for the anti-gun candidates, and the PAC needs the money to combat that. So we have the numbers, as 42 Chilled has pointed out. Yeah. We have the numbers to take back Virginia. We just have to show up. And so talk to all your friends, talk to your family, talk to your neighbors, talk to your coworkers, get them to show up. We have record numbers of gun buyers from all walks of life, from all political leanings. And if they vote to keep their guns, we're golden.
Yes, more people realize what's going on than I think a lot of us. And the media doesn't want to let on to any of this, but I think more people than you realize, and people that you might not think normally would notice, are noticing what's happening to this country. I can't go anywhere without talking to somebody. I've never had anybody that I talk to say, "Oh, I don't see anything wrong." No, everybody is concerned, big time, and they should.
I completely agree, Philip, and I'll tell you this, I always talk about coalition partners, people who, are kind of, to the right of politics, Second Amendment supporters normally are. And as we see everything that's kind of unfolding in the country, there's a bewilderment about how we got where we are, right? And the reason we are where we are is because of a lack of engagement. And a lack of people giving money, time, and voting. I mean, that's the three things that I want everybody to take away from tonight. every candidate and everybody that is trying to raise money, particularly for this PAC, we want you to vote. We obviously want you to contribute, but we would love your time too. We would love your time. We would love to have you come to our event. Again, it's very heartwarming to be around like-minded people.
Oh yeah.
You take that and you build on it and you have a great day. You spend $125, you have a lunch, you compete. You're outdoors at this beautiful farm in the middle of the state. And, you're going to walk away. You're going to be like, we can do this, because
you still get to argue. You get to argue between 9mm and 45, whether you should have a gun or not.
And I'm right in the middle.
Size matters, right?
So anyways, that's my last pitch. I want to urge everybody to come have a good time. Share the invitation or the link from the website with your friends. If you have any questions, email the PAC email address or the general VCDL phone number. Someone will call you back if you would like to spend the extra money and sponsor it. That would be great. You would get recognition at the event. We would put your name up on the website. You'd get social media commentary, so some sponsors don't particularly care about that kind of stuff, and that's fine. You can contribute, and if you don't want your name on anything, that's fine too. We'll have spaces for tables. So the top sponsorships get tables. If you have, a gun shop or any type of kind of coalition that wants to spend at least $500 on a sponsorship, you also get a table at the event. So, that's great. You get a 10 by 10 space. It's really well situated so that it's kind of like right between where everybody's eating and the parking. So you're going to have really great traffic, and I wish I had one of my cigars. I don't know if you have one, Pat, with you. I did get VCDL. Yeah, I have Gun Saves Lives cigars that are going to be for sale. They have the orange wrapper on them. And we will have those for sale. They're great. People are really liking them. So I just bought my first batch. Pat has some at her gun shop, and I think Bruce Jackson has some. I'm going back to buy my second batch, and those will be great. It's been really cool up here in Northern Virginia. We've had some conservative smokers and people from everywhere come and have a cigar and relax and talk. So we're going to have a cigar tent at the event as well.
Yep. Now, I just want to clarify something, Kathy, because we're not allowed to take anonymous donations. So
right.
Any donation, we do have to collect your name, address, occupation, employer, and employer's principal place of business. And we do have to report all the money that we collect to the State Board of Election, but your information is not made public unless your annual contribution is more than $100. So that's $100 in a calendar year.
Right. So if you want to buy a $15 cigar and come and have lunch for $30, that's $45, and your name will not show up anywhere.
And if you just tuned in and you can't get to the VCDL.org PAC page and whatever, we're doing some maintenance on our website, so just try later on.
Yeah, sadly, our web host decided to do maintenance at 8 o'clock in the evening instead of the middle of the night. Go figure. I mean, that's a 2 o'clock in the morning thing if I ever heard it. But
of course, I'm still up at 2 in the morning. So, but
yeah.
And I want to thank Kathy for her leadership on the PAC. She's been very, very active, and we definitely thank her for that.
Yeah, Kathy's been taking the PAC in great directions and working along with her. We've got Britton Ross, who's also been very active. Several of our executive members are also on the PAC, and some VCDL members that have been, I'm really thrilled with the direction that the PAC has been going over the last year. It's been doing great things, and I look forward to even more. So
I think the PAC's going to break a lot of new ground and open up some new areas for the PAC as far as getting things done. By the way, that where you'd be going is 100-acre farm. I mean, it is quite impressive.
Yeah.
Very, very.
Not only is it impressive, it's historic.
Yeah, it is.
I think we should do a write-up on what has happened on that property, during the Civil War.
Yeah.
I'll tell you, I went and, that's one of the most beautiful things about Virginia is our history. And it's just amazing what has happened on that property. It was a bridge that was built by the Huguenots. I mean, it's just absolutely amazing. But I wanted to say it's really go time, though. As much as we've done in the past year, and we've raised some really good money. We made some great endorsements last year. We did social media ad buys. We're going in different directions. It's go time right now. I mean, we are at August 18th, right? Our fundraiser is in 30 days.
Mm-hmm.
So our fundraiser is in 30 days. The day
Frank,
before.
the menu will be barbecue and other delicious things. I think we have a local restaurant.
We
place
do. We have
catering it.
We have a local barbecue place. It's, barbecue, beans, coleslaw, of course, soda, water, so it's going to be a nice lunch. And,
Right. And
like I said,
general
just what a great
admission
opportunity
includes,
to take a respite in the middle of the day and listen to some really great sponsors, people that have given us money, to come talk to us and listen to our concerns.
You're gonna meet some of the nicest people you'd ever want to meet.
Yep.
Oh, absolutely.
And the email about it should be going out to anybody subscribed to the VA alert. There'll be a pack alert coming out very soon. Obviously, with the website down, I can't send it right now. But when it does come out, forward it to your friends, but take the unsubscribe off at the bottom, because if they click that link, it'll unsubscribe you, and you don't want that to happen. So forward it to like-minded people that you think might be interested in joining or helping sponsor. And just remember to take that unsubscribe link off the bottom.
Yep. 30 days. So let's build it.
Thanks,
Let's build
Fluff.
it and spend it. And like I keep saying, it's go time. I don't particularly like this 45 days of voting, but it is what it is. And actually, early voting starts the day before our fundraiser. It starts on the 17th. Our fundraiser is on the 18th. So, you guys are going to be voting potentially in 29 days.
Yeah.
Yep.
So go vote on that Friday and then come to our fundraiser on Saturday.
Yeah, let's vote early.
Yep.
They're putting it out there. Let's take full advantage of it.
Right. Play by their rules. We may not like them, but we play by their rules, and if you have to drag people and, just like I said, just go to the state election board or go to your county registrar. They'll have the locations and the hours, because it's not every day, from 7 to 6 p.m. or 6 a.m. to 7 p.m. like it is on election day. But it's quite expansive. It's pretty much Monday through Friday. And then at the end of the voting cycle, I think there's a Sunday or two even where you can vote. So, you're on your way home from work, you're on your lunch hour, and the voting location is right there. Go vote.
Absolutely.
Go vote, and then sign up to be an election official or an
Yeah.
auditor.
Yeah.
If you can do that, do it.
Election officials. Yeah, they need them.
Absolutely.
Need to have good eyes watching what's going on at these polling places.
There's been a very large effort to get election officers, signed up. Up here in Northern Virginia, we had some very scary numbers in Fairfax County and Loudoun County, where it was 2-1 election officers, Democrats to Republicans. But we've had a really big push, and it's been throughout the state. And some of those numbers are pushing up for Republican election officers. You can also be an independent. You don't have to say you're a Republican when you sign up for an election officer. You can be an independent. But I will tell you what, there's something very satisfying about being in there and seeing how the voting goes. And I've been an election officer. You go through the training. It's very educational. Some of it makes you feel really good about what's going on. And then you see some places where, gaps might occur. And that's when you start asking questions, and get educated and do it. Don't regret not doing it.
Right.
Yeah.
It's super easy. And, if you go to a 2-hour training session and you work on election day, it's a small price to pay to make sure that our elections have integrity.
I think with the kind of people that gun owners are, I meet them all the time, day in, day out. They'd be the perfect people to do this, between the strong patriotism and the moral issues and everything else. The foundation there, I think.
They have integrity.
Integrity, absolutely. Integrity being maybe being the best word for it.
And the best thing to think about it is this way: we have to win 6 House seats, right? Republicans, and as much as we're apolitical, we are, we're a nonpartisan pack. We know where the Democrats are headed. We know what's happened with them owning both houses and all the statewide, the governorship, lieutenant governor, and attorney general, Mark Herring. Oh my God. But we know what's happened. We have to win 6 seats in order to take back the House.
Not many.
6 seats.
Well, considering we have people running in every single district, then it's doable.
It is very doable.
And especially when you see that long time people have lost their seats and didn't even win the primary.
Yeah, yes.
And I think we all know who I'm talking about.
Oh, Mark Levine. Oh God, I still
Don't share my name with him. He's Mark Levine.
Yeah, Frankenstein. But anyhow,
There's some debate about whether or not their primary challengers are even worse than they are. But I will tell you this: without an incumbent, it actually opens up an opportunity for the person that's running against them. So even though you could say, oh, the odds are so long, but that's where the opportunities lie. And I will tell you, some of the people running in those races, I know them, they filled out our survey. They filled out our survey. They live in these difficult districts in Northern Virginia. And they sent the survey in, and we need to support them. Mm-hmm. Every gain that we make this year, let's, keep our fingers crossed that we take the House back. Every gain that we made this year, we can make another gain next year. This is in inches, not miles.
Yes.
And, you look at the federal landscape, we have an opportunity on the federal level to take back, the House there too. So let's make, Virginia first. Go time in Virginia and let Virginia lead the way. Virginia's always led the way, haven't they?
Yeah. And indeed, I can tell you, it's absolutely true that eyes are on this state, especially for gun organizations across the country. They're looking at us because in us, they see our future and how we can, if we're successful in turning this around, we're teaching them as well how to fight this battle and how to win it.
Mm-hmm.
Speaking of federal, the comment period expires tonight on frame and receivers. Just a little side note.
Yep.
Yep, we're under attack from all sides, and we really have to be working hard.
Who was the general that said the poor bastards have us surrounded?
Chesty Puller. Marine Corps Chesty Puller.
Yes.
Yep.
He's like, they were like, oh, they're to our sides and to our front, to our rear. What do we do? And he's like, well, they can't get away now.
Yeah. They got nowhere to
and
go.
Take these opportunities with what's happening in the news to create a dialogue with people, because not to go off on a tangent, but just what's happening in Afghanistan. You see people's heads exploding, and it is one of those times in history where we've just come off this extremely contentious presidential election, and we've got President Potato Head in there. And this is what happens, right? This is what happens when people don't go to vote.
Yeah.
This is what happens with disengagement and politics and, standing up for our principles. So the opportunity is with us now.
Yeah, they're worried about gun control. They're worried about gun control in America. And we've armed the Taliban with all of our best weapons over there.
And now the Taliban is collecting them because you don't need your guns because you're going to be safe. So we're going to collect them all from you.
Where we heard that
when the government says you don't need guns, you need guns. Big time.
Although I did like the picture of the Taliban all with their, fingers aligned properly, and people were circling, who are they trained by?
Oh, because trigger finger discipline.
Trigger finger discipline. Oh, just absolutely awful. But anyways, take these opportunities. If you see somebody and they're like, can you believe what's going on? Bring it back to the election this year. If they like guns, say, yeah, I can believe what's going on. Look what the hell's going on. You better show up.
Yep. So Brendan Brown is saying that in House District 40 in Fairfax, Dan Helmer has a run for his money. Harold Payan is a great Korean American vet and hitting the pavement to displace Dan Helmer. So
absolutely, he is an excellent candidate. If you have a chance to engage with him and you live in that House District 40, This is one of those opportunities. This is a huge opportunity. This was previously Tim Hugo's seat. And so Helmer beat him in, I think it was 19. And, you know, it didn't take much because of the political wins, but the pendulum's swinging.
Oh,
Okay.
yeah.
The pendulum's swinging. We just got to jump onto it and make it swing a little harder. So, but Harold Pion is just one of these examples of someone, a brave person stepping forward and saying, I'm going to do it. And it's happening all over the Commonwealth. And the least that we can do is support these people. If they are good Second Amendment supporters, we need to give them time and we need to show up and vote for them. If you know anybody in House District 40, call them up.
Yep.
Help them.
Work for their campaign. Knock on doors. Make phone calls.
Because I'll
do
tell
whatever
you
can to get the word out.
Dan Helmer, I mean, he's one of the worst of the worst. You know, he has this smirk on his face all the time, and he's forever doing everything wrong. He's Jewish, and he had some rabbis come in and plead with him, saying, "Don't support some of this stuff because it's going to make it hard to protect synagogues." He didn't care. He had no concern whatsoever, and just signed right off on the bills that these rabbis were pleading with him not to do. And all with a smug look on his face. I can tell you, it'll be another celebration for me if he joins Mark Levine in retirement. Levin,
there is a difference between 19 and this year, and like Philip said, you know, we have 100 candidates that are running against the Democrats. They actually only have 95 candidates, so there's 5 seats that they aren't fielding. There we go. We got 5. You know, it's probably 5 that are heavily red districts, but so it's flip flopped.
It changes.
The environment is different.
Everything has changed for them because now, where a lot of their delegates, I don't have anybody running against me, so I'm going to give my money to this other delegate who needs help, and I'm going to do this and that, and now they can't do that. Now every one of them has to worry about somebody running against them, and some of them aren't used to this. They've probably never had anybody run against them. And I heard a story once from another lobbyist of a legislator just like that. Never anybody run against him for years, and when he finally had somebody running against him, he fell apart. He literally was in tears. He couldn't handle have to defend his seat. It was just something he took for granted. And I bet you there's a whole lot of Democrats that are in exactly that same mode.
Well, it forces them to spend money to run a race, and they can't give all the money to their other candidates. So you have some of these candidates, some of them are newly elected. David Reed up here in the 32nd, you know, I mean, he's newly elected, but he's a huge fundraiser. Well, he didn't have anybody running against him in 19. What did he do with his money? Gave it to all of his friends, right?
Yeah.
Make them spend their money on their own race.
This is not going to be a status quo, I don't think, this time. I think this election is going to be very different, and we don't want to sit this one out.
No.
Be in this. Well, thank you, Kathy. I would appreciate
Yes, thank you. Didn't mean to keep going on and on and on, but it is go time. Come to our fundraiser, vote early, get your friends to come in and vote early. Lock and load your vote. That's our saying. Lock and load your vote.
Okay, that's good.
Did you trademark that?
Not yet. But you're going to see it over and over, I think, this election cycle. So,
all right.
Okay,
Kathy.
thanks, everybody.
Thanks
Have
a lot.
Great evening.
All right. Bye-bye.
Good night, Kathy.
I don't know if this will show. Oh, no, it's not going to show up. I don't know how I can do this. I don't think it's ever.
Hold it in front of your black shirt.
Yeah, I don't know. Well, what it is, you can't see it. But this was the award we got in 2020. It came in a few weeks ago. We were voted the grassroots gun rights organization of the year for the country by the Citizens Committee to keep and bear arms, CCRKBA, and the Second Amendment Foundation. It's quite an honor because we're competing with all the other gun rights organizations in every state across the union. And to win that is a big deal. And we won it last year.
Good. Well, I only had one more thing on our on my checklist, and that was we finally had an in-person meeting this month, a general membership meeting, and we're going to do it again. So if you're in Northern Virginia, and we're going to have a meeting on 9/22 at 8 p.m. at the in Sterling. So just watch the alert for the updates and everything, and would love to see you.
Yeah, and we are on a new email system. So some of you that may not have been seeing all that many emails, hopefully that will improve. This system is a lot faster and so forth. It's not perfect, but it looks like we're hoping now we're going to be reaching people that somehow the other system wasn't properly handling. So, we got 57,000 people signed up. We want to make sure every one of them gets our alerts because we need all of you to be in this fight with us.
And besides the VA alert, if you don't know where to follow us on social media, you can go to linktree.com/VCDL, and there's a bunch of links there of where to follow us, how to donate, all that type of stuff on linktree.com/VCDL.
Yep. And I did see a question earlier in the comments I didn't address right away about the AFLAC, what the discounts are. It's hard to go down the list because there's so many different policies that you can sign up for. They have cancer policy or catastrophic illness or dental or just all kinds of things. AFLAC is, it's not insurance, but what it does is it subsidizes you if something happens where you get sick or you need medical attention in some way or another, depending on what policy you buy. So they pay the money directly to you. They don't pay your doctor or anything like that.
Especially
instance,
if you've got a deductible. If you've got a deductible, they'll pay that. So where you would have to pay that out of your pocket before because that wasn't covered by insurance, they're there to help you with that. Things like that.
So I just put the link in. I just put the link in the chat, and our website update is complete. So you can go there right now and take a look.
Yeah, they will be continuing the website update until maybe 11 o'clock tonight. So it may go up and down a couple of times between now and 11, but hopefully it'll stay up. But anyway, so for instance, with the cancer coverage, if you buy the cancer coverage, you get one screening a year that you get a $75 payment for. So if you go for a colonoscopy or a mammogram or something like that, you get $75 once a year. I can tell you that the discounts are deeper discounts than what AFLAC gives its own employees. So they're pretty good discounts. And a lot of the policies are like $20 a month or so. So, it's a good deal if it's something that you're looking for. And Sarah Max, a VCDL member down in the Virginia Beach area, worked really, really hard to put this deal together. She came up with the idea. She works for AFLAC. She approached AFLAC and said, what can we do? They gave her the discount. She came to VCDL and said, how can we make this work? And she spent over a year putting this thing together. And so it's now up on the page, and some more details will be coming out in a VA alert really shortly.
I'm sorry. I'm picturing their little duck with a holster.
Yeah, maybe we can get that.
Yeah, a little duck with a holster. Well, it's at a shooting range or something, standing in line, and somebody saying, "Well, I have health insurance," and quack. Oh,
yeah.
You gotta laugh at
Aflac.
I think I'm trying to think if I had anything else. We're going to continue to watch all kinds of things going on, but I guess that I don't have anything else. It's getting kind of late. I think we've covered most of what I had to say.
Okay. Well, thank you, everybody.
All
Thanks
right.
for joining us. Share this video amongst your friends, no matter what social media platform you're on. The replay of this video will be on our YouTube channel. And again, to find all of our channels and all our social media, go to linktree.com/VCDL. Thanks for joining us, everybody. Good night.
Good night.